And here we are. Hola, peoples.
Hello.
Okay, let's make sure this is all legit correct. Finally. Okay, well, obviously today is Wednesday, so we're doing Wednesday show, which means we're talking about tarot or oracle. Today we are talking about oracle cards. Very, very fun. Uh, Tonight's topic is healing with the Shapeshifters, and we're gonna have so much fun tonight. If you have any questions at all about oracle decks, oracle cards, healing work, anything pertaining to the subject of tonight's show, go ahead and ask. We are here to be of service. We are here to answer whatever we can. And you have us for a little while, so definitely take advantage of that. We want to make sure to, give the best of ourselves and to provide for you when you have questions. So let's talk a little bit about. You just got the set.
Yes, literally just got it like a week ago.
What have your experiences been? What do you like about the shapeshifters? And then let's talk about shapeshifters, what it means to shapeshift and the type of energy that brings forth.
Okay, well, Shapeshifters to me is all about transformation, change. You know, because had our little Teen Wolf obsession.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Obviously that kind of comes to mind, a transition, especially when you see shows like Teen Wolf, a transition from, a person to an animal always is extremely painful, yet they always come out having more power. They have a whole different set of attributes. So to me, that is what shapeshifters are about, transforming. And we all go through change. Change happens regularly, minute by minute. So when you utilize things like the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, you can't control your transformation, but you can understand it better.
Yeah.
You can channel those energies into an area that you really want to work with, and you can understand your transformation a lot better on a much deeper level.
Well, I think it makes sense too because, talking about Teen Wolf and talking about, werewolves and anything that, shifts from even True Blood, not in True Blood, the werewolves, yes, but any transformation like that, you notice that at first, when they first start to, shift, it's very painful. But as time progresses and they start to understand and accept who they are, it's still like a challenge. It's still, they have that discomfort, but it's not as painful as it was when they first started. So I always think that's very fascinating because you can still tell, at least that's what they, express in shows and stuff, is when they do start to shift more, they still have that discomfort, they still have that pain and these other things that go along with it. But the more understanding and acceptance they have of their position and where they are and who they are, it becomes easier to manage.
Right. And if you think about it, you kind of can see that, especially in your elders. You have certain older people who just roll with the punches and they accept pretty much anything that comes along. And then you have those others that are really reluctant to change.
Yes.
And it's not because they haven't experienced change, it's just they've gotten to the point where they don't like it.
Right. And Right, and the healing aspect, and again, this obviously this is about healing, but change is definitely healing. Shape shifting is healing. It can be, and that's what we're going to tap into tonight. But the healing part of that is understanding. You can either be, why the fuck does this always happen to me? I always have to say the same thing over and over. You can either be in the flow, be of the flow, go with the flow, or you can go against the current. If you go against the current, It's not being rebellious, and it's not necessarily standing up against, society. Sometimes when you go against the current, it is a negative thing because you can still achieve the same results if you go with the flow and you work with the current. If you're working with that energy and you create a change there, you can still get the same results, if not better results, versus standing against it and being like a single force against like a mass of energy coming your way. When you go against the flow, it hurts. You have so much that piles up on you. You have so much that comes at you. But when you go with it, you flow with it, and you start to understand that process. It's almost like a butterfly, or caterpillar. The whole process of becoming a butterfly. You go on this like journey, and you enter this state. These processes. I can't fucking talk. So you enter this energy, and you become something new. And it might be sad. It might be depressive. It might be very challenging because you, in a sense, have to trust that you're going to be taken care of, that you're going to be okay, that you're going to survive in this new persona.
Right, and it's interesting that you brought up the caterpillar. I mean, obviously that's something that comes to mind, but I read a really interesting article the other day about the fact that when caterpillars change into butterflies, they literally become like liquid. They turn into kind of a mush. Well, what's really interesting about that is that they did a few experiments as far as like exposing them to certain noises and like heat, cold, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they would, once they completed their transformation, even though at the time they experienced these different situations, once they became a butterfly, they still remembered it because they would react in a specific way when exposed to those conditions again. So a lot of people think that when they change, they're going to turn into this whole completely different person. And yes, you do become more of yourself. You still have your memories. You still have your experiences that you can draw on. It's just that instead of looking at it as, oh my God, I'm going to be someone else, don't think of it that way. You're not going to be someone else. You're going to be more of who you are.
Right.
See where I was going with that?
and like our bodies, everything has like cell memory. So we react to certain things differently when we build up that memory. Mm-hmm. So no matter how much you change, you at some level, you still carry certain things that remember, where you've come from.
Right.
So if that's a worry of yours, and if that's something that's holding you back from shifting and from changing and becoming something new and stepping into a new process, then you don't have to worry about that because that aspect of who you are is still going to be a part of you. Although, if that is something that you are also concerned about and that which like catapults you into the future, into making stupid decisions and becoming something new super fast when you're not necessarily ready because you don't want to be this person, you also have to remember that you're not going to necessarily escape that person by running away to become something new. Just because you shapeshift, just because you change, doesn't mean that you change everything. It doesn't mean that you don't remember the past. It doesn't mean that you don't remember, the person you once were, the people that you surrounded yourself with. It doesn't mean any of those things. What it means when you really truly change and you become a shapeshifter and you become the process of the healing, what it means is that you understand, you take this moment where you have this clear understanding and you're okay with who you are. You're okay with where you were, but you understand that it's time to move forward. It's time to create change for yourself. It's time to do more and to be better. And what that means is to let go and to really be, and some people have negative associations with this word, but it's not. It really means to be submissive to the process, be submissive to the change, the shift in energy. And once you're able to do that, you start to, again, go with that flow and you do make those changes, and you do understand that this whole process was meant to be, and it was necessary, and you are able to look back eventually on like the person you were, the people you surround yourself with, the situations that you were in or you put yourself in. You're able to look back on that and not have as much, there's a word, like passion. Yeah, there's not as much like intensity feeling about that. You can just look at it and allow it to flow. Again, the flow is going to be probably my word of the night. But you can understand that it doesn't have as much impact on you.
Right.
So you don't forget it. You don't become numb to it either. You just like, oh, you're just like, okay, that was a part of my story. That was part of my transformational process. And I'm over here now, and I'm okay with that.
Right. And you know, for me, I could really tell when I was hanging on to things, because I would going about my day, and I would remember something really stupid I did, like from 20 years ago, out of nowhere. It would just hit me, and I would feel that guilt or that shame or that embarrassment. So you always know when you haven't let go, because your body is going to remind you haven't let go. And there's nothing wrong with being submissive to yourself. You should be able to trust yourself enough to submit to the changes that your body knows it needs.
Right. And
and your soul and your spirit knows, because your spirit has been through this before. Hundreds of thousands of times before. So your spirit instinctively knows exactly what you need to do to progress in a natural way. So whenever you decide to finally trust yourself, trust the fact that your spirit has done this before, then it becomes a very enlightening process, and it doesn't have to be painful.
Right. And for all the new people who just joined us, we are obviously talking about healing with the Shapeshifters and what that means. If any of you, again, have any questions about healing, about the Shapeshifter deck, or about Shapeshifters like in resonance to healing, in reference to healing, go ahead and ask. Like, we are here. If you have any questions about Oracle cards, Oracle decks, definitely ask. I know there are a few of you that just popped on, so I can see that change. So yeah, definitely feel free to utilize that. Ask questions. We are here to be of service. We are here to answer as best as we can. But yeah, healing is necessary. Healing is necessary to promote change and to become more of who we are. The more we understand, and the challenge with healing, and the challenge when I communicate with like my clients and when I do healing for people, is to console them and to more so help them understand that just because you need a healing does not make you a bad person. Because a lot of people associate like to become like, when you're getting a healing, it's to make you whole. It's to fix something. Like there's something wrong with you, and that it really it hurts the soul to see people think that way. Obviously, when we seek healing, there are discomforts and challenges that we process, but it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. Like there's something that needs to be fixed in a sense. Like I don't know if that's being expressed correctly, but I'm trying to I don't know how to express it right. But I just don't like when people come to me and say there's something wrong with me, I need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. You have something that you're going through that we need to process and we need to understand. And we're gonna, if I can help you, I can. But again, when we're doing work for other people, there's a time where there are certain things we're not capable of handling, where we have to give them the correct information to maybe seek professional help by people who are equipped to help that type of situation. But when you seek a healing, when you seek to work with that energy, it's not to fix something, but more so what I like to express is it's meant to remember. It's meant to remember who you are. It's meant to remember that you are whole. You are, you are complete. You are part of a divine process. It's not because you are missing anything per se. Maybe there's like crazy, like, maybe there's like a challenge. Maybe there's something that you're disconnected from, but you still have to step into that essence where you remember that you're fine. You remember that you are a whole essence.
Right. Right. Well, it's just like, children from the time they are born till, they're in their late teens, early 20s, are constantly growing. And there's a reason why they call them growing pains. They actually do physically hurt. I mean, when Ellie was smaller, whenever she would shoot up like 3 or 4 inches, she would come and she would be crying like, "Oh, my legs hurt so bad, Mom." And because she would experience that pain. There was nothing wrong with her. Obviously she was in pain, but she didn't need to be fixed. And I would give her, I would give her some Tylenol, whatever, and rub a little lavender on and get a little peppermint oil with coconut oil and rub them on her legs, and she would go to sleep, and the next day she would feel much better. It wasn't ever I never approached it as something that needed to be fixed.
Right.
Because there was nothing wrong with her. She was doing what we all do, and that is growing. And so think about like that. Like whenever your kid comes up to you and says that they are sick and they want you to make them better, you don't think that there's something wrong with them per se. Like with their psyche, you might think, oh, my kid might be sick. Right. But you don't look at them as though there's something that needs to be fixed.
Right.
You look at them like, oh, okay, let's see what we can do to make you better. So you need to make sure and use that same ideology on yourself, not just your kids or people who you care about, but you should care about yourself enough to realize that you don't need to be fixed. You just need to figure out what is causing the pain, what is causing the hurt, what is causing the need for healing, and encourage that process to go ahead and heal.
Right. What was I going to say? Well, someone, not to take from everyone else, but someone just messaged the page saying that they're watching and chat is disabled. The chat shouldn't be disabled because the live Q&A is up. So I don't know if it's just like a technical Mercury. We're going to blame every fucking shit on Mercury because I'm telling you, I've been having challenges more than normal. But then again, as it was explained to me earlier, again, Mercury is in my house. So yeah, no, the Q&A is up. It is enabled, so you should be able to ask questions. But you have to click on the Google link. And I've never joined a hangout like this to know where to ask.
Oh, it's in the top right-hand corner. You'll see a section of little blocks that are in a square. And if you click on that, there'll be a showcase option or a Q&A option. Click on the Q&A option, and the Q&A will pop up. It's not something that pops up automatically whenever you're watching the show. You have to pull it up yourself, just in case you didn't know, because it took me 4 shows to figure that out.
I didn't know.
But I'm kind of technology challenged, so yeah. Diana's posted, so it's working. She said Mercury was especially mean this time. I'm like, yeah, it was, and it's not over till Monday. So
shut your mouth. Shut that mouth right now. We are not going to discuss such. Oh, no, not today. Obviously, it was today because this shit is just getting crazy. Okay, so y'all have any questions? You want to talk about anything specific? Let's get into these cards. So again, healing is a part of life. I love one of my favorite things to do is healing work. I enjoy moving energy. I enjoy being of service and making sure I help someone understand that this healing is theirs. It's a part of them. So when you are doing healing work, you're not necessarily fixing someone or healing someone per se. You are a conduit for energy. You are a conduit to allow something to take place, and you are in essence a medium to the healing work. And what you do is you act as a vessel for the energies to be brought through, and you are able to move those energies around that your client, the body, yourself, and you allow that energy to bring forth messages, to bring forth the right type of frequency and vibration, whatever you want to call it, to align with whatever part of the body you're working on, and to uplift it and to alleviate discomfort, or to bring the mind in a better state to understand the process it needs to go through to make itself better. Healing work is just it's so much fun. It really is. And it's so much fun. So how do you want?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
No, I was just saying, a lot of people I have noticed, especially when they first start healing, one of the more common mistakes is drawing on your own energy to heal, and that doesn't do anybody any favors.
No.
But it is a common mistake. I think everybody who first gets into healing doesn't realize they're doing it at first until they start crashing out for hours upon hours on end.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing too is, like, if you're and you have to kind of take your own ego out of it, thinking you're gonna fix someone, and that's not the point of what we do here. That's we have to get out of that mindset. But it's not you. Again, like we just said, is like there's a process, and you're the conduit. So you are allowing something to flow through you in order to create change. So it doesn't matter who it is. Like, as long as what you're providing is a healing service or a healing work to yourself, to a client, that's what matters the most. Like, they get the best out of the situation. There was like a point to that, and I totally like my mind just like flew out the door. Flew out the window.
Well, do you want to just pull a random card just so people that haven't experienced the deck can sort of see what we're talking about?
Let's shuffle. Yeah, let's shuffle the deck and focus on like healing energies, healing messages that need to be expressed right now.
Okay.
And y'all, like, I find Oracle. I love using tarot cards and Oracle decks in healing work. I enjoy utilizing Oracle cards when I do healing. And there is a post on the Deviant Witchery Facebook page that I express, in a sense, like how you can utilize Oracle cards in healing. So check that out. But what you can do is, like, you take the cards, and each Oracle card has like a specific energy it expresses. You can, let's say someone has like third eye, challenges, and you shuffle the deck, you focus on third eye, and you say, like, what can I do to bring, healing, to bring this third eye challenge into alignment so that it works properly. And you lay out a card, and you can actually step into that card. It's not as complex as it might seem or sound. You can step into that card and pull energies from that card, like you're bringing something up into you, and you can like allow it to flow through you, and you push it into like the area where it needs to go, and you express the message as well, because the card will speak to you and say what needs to be said. But you can utilize the Oracle energies to promote healing.
Right.
And that's one way that that is one way that I do. Yes. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Alrighty then. You got a card?
I do.
What is your card?
My card is, I know the glare is horrible, a loyal guardian. Can you read there? a loyal guardian, a magical protector is there for you. And as far as healing goes, I actually kind of like this card. It whenever you're in a healing process, you can feel very vulnerable, especially when that transition is going to increase your any kind of spiritual abilities. You can feel very vulnerable at that time of transformation. And this card to me expresses that there is a magical protector is there for you. Now that magical protector can be your spirit guide. The magical protector could be your guardian angel, however you like to look at it. It could also just be your own natural shields that kind of, I know whenever I feel like I'm going through a big transition, a lot of times my shields will just naturally kind of harden. And I won't even really notice it until later where I feel like I'm so cut off more so than I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
So it could also mean that in a way as well. But to me, that's something that's very important for people to understand, that when you are going through transitions, any kind of healing transition, and you feel vulnerable, you're not as vulnerable as you may think.
Right. Right. And to kind of make it a little more personal too, is like, and those of you who might be working with Hecate, that could also express her energy, saying like, you know, her hound is present, or she is there, she's watching over you, and to possibly work with the crossroads, to possibly call upon her hounds for protection, to you know, watch over you as you step into this new energy. There are many things. Again, it depends on how you perceive it, but that's one thing that stood out to me as well. Because when I see hounds and I think guardians, I think her. But yeah,
it does look like a guardian of hers anyway.
Yeah.
Almost Rottweiler looking dog. I love that.
Well,
what card did you receive?
It's hard to show these because, like,
I love
glossy,
that.
little Owlin, wisdom as light as a feather. Super pretty.
It is. I love in the background, in the tree line, how the sun is shining through the trees. I thought that was so beautiful the first time I saw that.
This card is definitely, like, it's gorgeous. And those are pumpkins. Hello. So, they are, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looking at it from the, like, as I'm showing y'all. Okay, so you can see all the pumpkins, and this feels very harvesty just because of the, you know, the imagery, and obviously the pumpkins, and wisdom as light as a feather. So pretty much what this is, what you can actually utilize, like, if you're going to step into healing work, if you're going to step into doing something, this actually might express that you need to make sure that's not as harsh, that healing is not invasive, that you do it very light. It's not going to be, it's not something that's going to be very overwhelming, because if you do too much at once, it can be very overwhelming, and you might, you might bring discomfort in a sense that's going to kind of make you revert back to where you were, because you get scared of the process. You think it's going to be too much. This card comes in and it says, baby steps. It's we are going to do this. There's wisdom all around us. Pull in the energy from your surroundings and get to know what's going on. Get to know where you're at. Start putting your feelers out. Start, expressing yourself in different ways, and taking yourself out of your comfort zone in small steps. But not don't just jump. Don't freaking jump and just throw yourself, to the wolves without understanding who you are and that you can actually, tame and control. So this card brings like that subtle energy where, being subtle is absolutely powerful and potent if done correctly.
Mm-hmm. And these cards kind of go together really well. Like if you're going through a transition and you have a magical protector that is there for you, that magical protector is going to pass on wisdom to
Right.
you through this change, and you shouldn't carry it or feel like it's a burden.
Mm-hmm.
It is, you should take that knowledge and just let it pass through you, absorb it, and not feel like it's a weight you have to carry, but feel more like it is very light, because it is now expanded your knowledge. You know more now than you did yesterday. You know more now than you did 5 minutes ago, and don't hold on to that like it's something that a weight you have to carry it around. Let it lift you up. Make you feel like your transition is going smoothly because you are learning and accepting all this knowledge.
Right. Absolutely. Another thing too is like when you have that guardian, especially like let's say you're learning a new subject, like you have this guardian, you have something watching over you, so you don't so you don't burn out. And that could you don't need spiritual burnout, you don't need any type of burnout. So you have a guardian helping you heal and helping you to make you feel like welcome, to make you feel a part of something, but in small spurts. So you gain
Right.
that wisdom that you don't overwhelm your brain. And this definitely could be like the combo here could be someone who's in like rehab, like rehabilitation, like physical therapy, anything like that, where they need to be protected. You need to protect that part of you, whatever is like really hurting. You have to protect yourself and slowly, build that muscle again, slowly build that experience again. And for those of for people who have like relationship challenges, or if your heart is hurt and you have, let's say, the past coming back and like reminding you of certain situations, and you're like, I don't want that, like I don't need that. What I want is, I know what I want. So you have that loyal guardian who's there to protect you, and you can slowly allow certain things in so you can actually address them and move past them. You don't have to allow like the full experience, and especially for let's say someone went through an extreme, like intense, like hard breakup, and let's say that this person is coming back into the situation and trying to like create a certain like energy, trying to I don't know, just trying to like come back, and you're like, no, I don't want you, I don't need you, I don't, like, you hurt me. There's certain things, like this memory, like you have a list of memories, you were together for years and years and years, and you have all this history. Your loyal guardian's like, covering you and showing you that, okay, we can deal, we can work with this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cover you and shield you and protect you, but to move forward, to truly move forward, you have to deal with this. I'm not going to make you deal with this alone. I'm not going to force you to deal with this all at once, but we are going to take small sections and we are going to allow them to process, and we are going to move through them, and we are going to let them go. But you have to deal with this.
Yep. I agree. That's really awesome. That's a nice pairing of cards there.
I agree. Shoot. But yeah, and you can see, like, just expressing what we expressed about the cards, you can see how you can utilize like your healing skills to customize like this message into healing work.
Yes.
You could, obviously, if you need to boost protection, you can boost protection around the client. Like, let's say this came up, you can boost protection around them, and then you can look at their heart chakra, because if you felt like, let's say you felt this was about a loving ex relationship, but a relationship nonetheless, you can go around, like, let's check the heart chakra. Let's look in there. Is there anything that we need to pull out? Is there anything that, like, is there a tear there that we have to repair? What's going on? So you can like utilize the oracle cards to learn how to check in and fine tune where you're going to play certain things when you do healing work, and what needs to be shapeshifted, what needs to be shifted. So let's say that heart is the focus. That heart needs some shifter, energy. That heart needs transformation. So you bring the energy into the heart area so that it is given the best opportunity to choose and to be supported in choosing to be different, to change.
Right. Yes.
Dear Lord.
There's no questions yet. I'm surprised everyone's being so quiet.
I know. What the hell, y'all? What the hell? Okay, so let's make this a little interesting since y'all are fucking quiet. And I do know that it takes like quite a bit. Like there's like a delay in response. So when you put your question up here, it takes a little bit to show up. So definitely understand that. If anyone out there wants, let's say, if you want us to draw a card for a situation where you may need healing, why don't you put your question up here? We won't say who it is if I don't know if it shows up like.
It does. It shows up who it is.
Okay, well then y'all know who it is. Oh well, it's all fun. It's all good. If you have a question you want to bring healing to, we can consult the cards and we'll do that here just so you guys you understand how the process works. Yeah, I love healing work, especially with cards. It opens up new information and it expands on stuff too.
Yes, it does. And a lot of people when they come for healing, they'll be like, well, this is what's bothering me. And sometimes they aren't necessarily on point with that. That might be what's bothering.
What?
I don't understand that.
Okay, so I need like a specific question because we have to focus on like bringing healing. What do you need healing like to bring into your current situation? So like, what is the current situation so we can like shuffle and we can focus
we'll need more information. I mean, I guess we can focus on you, but we wouldn't really know how to address it.
Yeah, we have to do it so we can explain to other people like the whole process.
It doesn't have to be super specific, but like something like love, or you have a constant backache.
I'm fighting with someone in my neighborhood, and I need to know how to heal that situation, how to repair certain relationship issues, something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be super. Oh, okay. We can do that.
Yeah, we can. Do you want to?
That's very transformative.
That is transformative. So we are gonna shuffle. We're gonna focus. Like someone's, dealing with getting fired from a job yesterday. So we're gonna shuffle the deck, and we're gonna, see what the cards say on how to bring healing to that situation. But yeah, definitely. And the thing is, like for people like going through this, like it is definitely a challenge. And it doesn't, getting fired doesn't make anyone feel, doesn't make you feel good automatically. But another thing to comprehend and try to like focus on is, okay, this is definitely a transformational experience. I can choose to be in this negative space and feel sorry for myself. Not saying that this is what's happening, but I'm just going with generalizations where some people experience. But I can choose to feel sorry for myself. I can choose to sit at home. I can choose to get mad or try and get even and do all these things. Or I can choose to learn from the experience, and I can choose to move forward and move past and utilize this experience to make sure that I don't experience it again in the same way. Maybe it's Spirit's way of telling me that I'm better. I'm needed elsewhere. I will make more elsewhere. I'm better served elsewhere. I need to step into a different energy. It's not always easy focusing on the the more uplifting aspect of something. But it's always like it always makes you feel better in the end.
And in my experience, much as getting fired, that's all. It usually is exactly what I need at the moment, even though at the time I really didn't know that, and I'm more concentrated on the fact that I don't have a
Right. Okay, I think I'm ready for the cards to be presented. Mm-mm. That's perfect. That is like.
Yeah, mine's pretty good too. I wonder if we got the same one because it's like totally. This works really well. Oh no, we got different ones, but both of them fit really well.
Okay, so this card is Little Red Riding Hood. I am not a victim. That is a powerful, that honestly, that is a very powerful card. It's a very powerful like affirmation, especially going through something like this. You know, there you can again sit and think that, you know, this was done to you and I'm a victim. But the minute like this card is expressing like, okay, there are situations that happened, there were energies that were moved, there were things that were put into place. And I feel like I got, you know, the shit end of the deal. Like I got, you know, really bad. You know, this happened to me. I'm the victim. People are out to get me. That's what, you know, energy we could actually step into when you do go through something like this where you're being fired. But whether or not that is the case, that's not really what matters. What matters is how you choose to respond energetically, you know, spiritually, emotionally. Like what matters is how you choose to respond, and you need to understand like I am not a victim, so do not step into the victim mentality, because once we enter that victim stage where we choose to blame everyone else for whatever we're going through, whatever, you know. Oh my god, okay. That's wow, okay. I'll have to express that later. So I'm not a victim is basically stating that do not create that for yourself. Do not fall into that energy, because it's so easy. Because and choosing to be a victim, and I know people are going to get mad at me for probably saying that, but when we choose to be a victim and choose to remain in that energy, we get depressive. We get very depressing. We focus on everything else in our life that has happened that we associate with being a victim. We focus on all the bad points. We focus on being negative. We focus on the lows. And you're not a victim. You're a powerful person. You're a very, you know, you're a beautiful individual, and you have this essence in you, this power where you're able to create better for yourself. So this is basically saying to be like, fuck off. You know, I am grateful for the experience I have had, but it's time that I move on, and this is going to be the best for me. I will find something, I will create something for myself that is going to like definitely be better and be more fitting for who I am as a person. It's going to be more fitting for where I need to go with my life, because where I was, when you start to think about it, start to think about what you want out of life and where you're going, and where you desire to head. And if you take that and look at the job that you were basically fired from, if you see, most times you'll understand that energy was not meeting where you're seeking to go. And so it's spirit's way, it's the universe's way of saying, time to go. You gotta go. Like, you are meant for more, therefore you must be doing more. Therefore you need to be in a different situation where you're able to, you know, associate and network with more people, with more situations that are going to be in alignment with what you need to do. So do not fall into the trap of I am a victim. You are not. You are the victor of your life, of your situation. And so this, again, to bring healing energy. So I would step into this card and I would focus on encouragement, strength, protection. I would probably look, if I was scanning the body, I would probably look at the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus chakras.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to see if and remove like all the gunk around there, and then obviously I'd scan everywhere else as well. But right now, this is saying to me, like, I would go with the lower chakras to see what's going on, because that's kind of where it's at. Like, if we fall into that victim mentality and we fall into that poor me stage and that hurt stage, it's usually around there. And then I would go over like their shoulder area, and see what burdens they're carrying, how they're being felt, like what, you know, is being thrown at them. Like when this happens, usually the process is like stuff like from our past, like from our childhood. You're not good enough, you know, you're ugly, you could have been prettier, you know, all these other things start being thrown at us, because again, when you step into that weird, like that victim mentality, those things get flared and they get flagged up, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is a perfect time to address all of that, and to bring healing and to remove and release that, because you have to step into that power of conquering your current situation. I totally rambled.
I love that card, and this card sort of to me is like the perfect follow-up to that card. It's the delicate fairy and her ferrets. Change is natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. So to me, this card definitely expresses that, okay, you're obviously going through a period of change, and you need to accept the fact that it hurts. You need to sort of embrace that pain, acknowledge its existence, and then let it go. Then it's like, oh, that's so much easier said than done. But honestly, it's really not, unless you are actually, you know, it's all about, what does Jack Sparrow say? It is not the problem. It's how you think about the problem. You know, it's your attitude towards the problem. So this card to me is definitely addressing your attitude towards the problem. And instead of thinking, well, this is real, like Michael's expressed, instead of saying, well, I'm the victim, something bad that's happened to me, we're definitely not saying you cannot feel that way. Go ahead and feel that way, embrace it, and then let it go. You know, if I was going to focus on the healing aspect using this card, I would definitely focus on the throat chakra. You know, you need to really watch your communication as far as to yourself. Don't sit there and think negative thoughts or speak negative words towards yourself, like, God, I suck, I got fired today, I suck so bad, da, da, da. You know, it's okay, accept the fact that you feel that way, and be done with it. You know, don't keep expressing those same negative and detrimental communications to yourself. So I would definitely clear out the throat chakra, and the heart chakra as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, work on that, because I mean, you're allowed to feel crummy when you get fired from your job. Don't feel like that's something that you're not allowed to feel. Just realize you can't sit there and drown yourself in it. You know, acknowledge the fact that, you know what, this fucking sucks. You know, take a day to spend all day in your PJs eating ice cream and watching your favorite movie.
I totally got that impression too as you're talking. I'm like, well, just, you know, veg out for a little bit, but don't stay there.
Right. You know, veg out and take your this fucking sucks, you know, day, and then the next day get up and get your resume together and get your ass back out there, because you rock. You know you rock. You know you have, you know, talents. You know you have attributes that are good for you, and go for it. You know, and who knows, there may be a job out there that you have been wanting so badly but have never had the courage to actually apply for it. And to me, this card right here says, do that. Apply for that job that you think that you cannot get. Apply for your dream job. If you wanted to open a business of your own, now's the time. You have been given the perfect opportunity. Just don't sit and wallow in the fact that you're going through some tough times right now. Not, like I said, it's not to say that you don't have a right to. You definitely do. Just don't absorb yourself in it.
And to also express, don't think, and it's again, it's gonna be challenging, but don't think that they did this to me. Think what you just step into is more of thank you to spirit for opening up the situation for me, to be able to better, to better become myself, to better do what I know I need to do. Take the power back from the situation that was kind of sucky at that time, but take the power back and allow yourself to become the one on top of the situation.
Right.
They lost you. They lost your energy. They lost what you could offer them. So to definitely take the power back. But I think those two cards, again, fit very well together.
Yes, they did. They did. Also, I would just say one last thing. Don't think, oh, well, okay, that door is shut to me, but something else will open up. Go back and open that damn door. That's how doors work. They open. It just might not be the same view as you were used to.
Right.
You could open that door and realize that, oh, hey, look, this is so much better than what it was before.
Absolutely. Yes. So let's take this last question and we'll tie everything up. But let's see. Let's focus on forgiveness. Forgiveness. I don't really know how to forgive those who hurt me. I think I just make the situation invisible and move on. But obviously it stays with me because I've been told I need to forgive in order to let go. And I think that is something that everyone finds challenge with. Everyone has deep-rooted, we all have our own things about forgiveness. And it's even though so many people, all our new agers, and I'm not going to say it's a negative thing at all or a bad thing, but sometimes it's frustrating. And I say it myself, and I know I frustrate people when I say it. But when you forgive, you're not forgiving to tell someone that what they did to you was okay. When you give someone forgiveness, you're not telling them that everything they said about you, said to you, did to you, is okay. It's not an acceptance of what they did. It's a release of the hold that they have over you. So when you forgive, it's releasing the hold that you're allowing, because when you don't forgive, you have this energy that eats at you in a sense that makes you kind of bitchy, disgruntled, and it puts you in a bad mood. So it's having more influence over you most likely than it is the other person.
Exactly. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
I was just say, people tend to think that forgiveness also means acceptance of that person, and it does not. It means that you are moving past what they did and you're letting it go. That doesn't mean you have to be best friends with them anymore or accept their bullshit anymore. It doesn't mean that you even have to like them anymore. You can forgive someone and still not like them.
Right. That's yeah. I think you're right. People automatically assume if you forgive someone that you're the besties now, and you don't have to be. The relationship does not have to go back to what it was. Mm-hmm. But forgiving is more about you, and it's just you really can still hate someone if you want to hate someone. You can still be mad at someone, but still have forgiveness. And I know people think that's weird, but it's true. You can still forgive a situation, forgive something, but still feel strongly about it, but be able to forgive it and move past it, but still not allow someone to back into your life or allow a situation to occur still.
Right. Yeah. Forgiveness doesn't mean acceptance.
No.
Forgiveness means that you understand that person hurt you, you've acknowledged that, and you've let it go. That doesn't mean that you accept them for who they are and that they hurt you. That just means that, hey, this is the experience that I have experienced. I can't change it, so I'm going to let it go because I've learned from it and I can move on. And that's all it means.
Right. It's it's like watching a movie and never watching it again. You sat down, you watched that damn movie that you didn't want to watch. You let it happen, and you whatever, and you don't watch it again. You file it away. Like, you accepted that someone else wanted to watch it with you. You watched it and you let it go. Like, you're not gonna watch it again. It's like that. Like, you don't have to allow that back into your life. So I think I have a few more shuffles before this shit's gonna be ready.
Well, you were talking a lot while I was shuffling already.
Talking a lot is my thing. I like to talk, apparently.
Yes, but pearls of wisdom come for us. So.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. And forgiveness is so hard. No, it is a challenge because challenges can be overcome. So forgiveness is an extreme challenge at times, but it makes you feel better. It really does. And that's kind of like when you forgive and you feel what it feels like to do that, then you realize what it's about.
Yes. And then it becomes easier because you understand that forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to give back your energy to that person or you have to give them anything. I mean, obviously you're giving them forgiveness, but really you're not. I mean, yes, you're forgiving them, but it's for you. It's not necessarily for them.
Right.
So you don't even have to look at it as though you're giving them anything. You are forgiving them for your own peace of mind, not to make them feel better. You don't even have to tell them you've forgiven them if you don't want to.
And again, like, there is extreme healing in forgiveness, and I'll just explain this as I keep shuffling because for some reason this deck wants to be shuffled fucking ever. What was it? Over a year ago, I went through a situation where someone I trusted and someone like a really good friend of mine hurt me. And I'm sure, I did stuff and hurt them as well, because when you're hurt, you tend to react and you tend to lash out as well. Well, ended that relationship. Just, it was done. Not even gonna talk to you again. I don't have to see you, so shit. But a while back, probably a few months ago, I just got this extreme feeling that I needed to talk with this person. I felt like I needed closure for myself. I felt like I needed to say a few things and to give forgiveness and more so like understanding, not saying that things that happened were okay, but more so that like I get it. It wasn't okay at that time. It's not okay now, but I understand the whole process. And I gave forgiveness. Not saying that I allowed this person back into my life. I'm not even saying that I'm opposed to it. But I'm also not going to say that I am okay with it right now or if I'll ever be. But I forgave, and it felt good. And, it helped me. It helped me a lot because I was able to take like a whole year's energy and like neutralize it and uplift it in a matter of like minutes.
Right.
Okay, so I think these cards are ready.
Well, I really like the card that came up.
What card?
On my side. I got Mermaid in a Koi Pond. Remember your individuality. Become the dragon. And I like that for several reasons. One of the main ones is a lot of people feel like that in order to be accepted by others, they must forgive even if they're not ready. Forgiveness is a part of being accepted by. Did you really?
No, this isn't mine. I was just showing your card too.
Are you serious? Because that's happened before.
It has, yeah.
But you really need to not give a shit what other people think. And this is something that I find most people have huge challenges with. Because it is kind of our pack mentality that makes us want to fit in somewhere. And I'm not even saying that you shouldn't fit in somewhere, but don't change who you are to be accepted, and don't feel like that the only reason why you need to forgive this person is to be accepted. Forgiveness needs to come from a true sinner. It needs to come from your actual self. It can't come from a willingness to be accepted, or a wanting to not be an outcast. And it's like it says, become the dragon. Dragons have pretty thick skin. They protect their horde. They protect themselves. And sometimes you have to be that dragon, and be like, you know what? Okay, what you did is what you did. I'm not saying it was right. I forgive you for it. Now you're cut off, and I don't want to see your fucking face ever again. You have to put limits and boundaries on people. You just have to, for your own sake. And so whenever a lot of the part of the process of forgiveness is understanding how it happened, how the situation took place, and realizing what you can do to protect yourself. So if you need to reestablish boundaries, that is the perfect time to do it, as you're understanding how the situation happened, and the acceptance of that, the fact that it did happen, and now that it's time to move on. So instead of just like, okay, accepting it, time to move on, make sure you put those boundaries in place so it doesn't happen again, because that's a very important process of forgiveness, is learning from that situation and protecting yourself so it doesn't happen again.
Right. And that was Mermaid in a Koi Pond.
Yes.
That's suit. You know what? You're gonna laugh. Our cards love each other.
They do all the time. It doesn't matter what deck.
Because I got find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness, and this is the deep, dark sea mermaid.
Yeah, we're about some mermaids right now.
Mermaids are fascinating beings.
I love that card anyway. It's beautiful.
It's super gorgeous. Yeah. And yeah, they're just...
And they go so well together. They're even like kind of looking at each other.
Yeah, they go extremely well with each other, because your card's all about, rediscovering your individuality, becoming the dragon. Dragons are very magical and powerful. They're strong, they're wise and old. They're tough.
Mm-hmm.
And the deep, dark sea mermaid, again, expresses to find solutions in the unknown places in the darkness. And so forgiveness is a challenge, again, like, has expressed, and I'll express it over and over and over, because it's not the funnest thing in the world to do, but necessary. So what the deep, dark sea mermaid is expressing is that you kind of have to dig deeper you don't kind of have to, you do have to. When you're going to heal, we're going to heal, bring healing, bring energy into your life, and to learn that in order to come out of a situation, in order to become happier, in order to really take that situation that you're in, and to remove that burden, remove that heaviness that's on your fucking shoulders, in order to uplift and to step into your full power, you have to take time to enter the abyss. You have to take time to become the abyss. You have to take these moments where you meditate, you shut everything out, and you look at yourself. You really look at yourself, and you see where you are hurting. You see who is attached to that deep-rooted pain. And that's what this is about. It's about deep-rooted pain. It's about people who have truly almost... That's intense. Okay, so people who have truly brought like almost traumatic experiences, and I keep getting like PTSD energy, like people who have brought these things upon you, and not just you, Diana, who's asked the question. This is actually applying to a lot of people. The situation can be applied to a lot. So people who have definitely placed this this almost disempowerment upon you, where you have taken this and you've been hurt, and you don't want to forgive because that wound is deep. You're deeply cut, and you're scared that just by acknowledging it, it might like open like severely, and you will never come back from that. You're scared that that wound will open and the blood will gush, and you know, all this stuff will happen, and you're going to feel that pain again and intensify it. But what she's expressing is like, that's where you need to go. That's kind of when you have to fall. You have to fall deep into yourself. You have to fall into those darker moments, into that place where you float in this deep abyss of your hurt and your experiences, where you're able to understand just exactly who and what and where you need to place forgiveness. Because in order to remove, and all of us know this, like, we have this burden, we have this hurt, and we feel lethargic, we feel disempowered when we do not give forgiveness, and we know that people hurt us, and we don't want to give it to them. We don't want to give it to them, but in the long run it hurts us, and we have to carry ourselves in this world. So why would we do that to ourselves? She is saying, come to me, you know, sink into the abyss, sink into your own mind, sink into this experience where you are faced with your fears, where you're faced with yourself, so you're able to bring healing to your life and to your current situation. In order to learn how to forgive people, you have to learn where where it stems from. You have to learn the core belief, the core situation of where that experience is. And in order to do that, again, you have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
And
rediscover your individuality.
Yes, and this might be a little personal, but I feel a really good way, like what I'm being shown, what is coming to me is, in truth, because a lot of people are very uncomfortable with their own bodies. A lot of people don't like how they look naked. And that's kind of what is being said here, is like, you kind of have to get naked and look in the mirror. Like, you have to just take everything off, take the layers off, and look at yourself, look at your body, and look and pay attention to when you look at your body in full, pay attention to what makes you feel most uncomfortable, and make note of that. Because if you can attach something to that spot, like, okay, so I'm looking at this part of my body and I'm like really uncomfortable with this, what's going on with that? Like, let me travel a little deeper. Did someone you know, comment about that part of my body once, and it made me feel really bad, and that's attached to this, and you know, so you need to take time to process that, but definitely, you know, strip away everything and step into the abyss, so that you can look at yourself and face yourself and understand where this is rooted, where the situation is rooted. Because when you pull something from the root, you get lasting healing. You get something that's gonna last. You don't get a band-aid. You get like this whole on, you know, this healing. You get taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you know, uproot, you also have this. You have the power of the dragon to come in and to bring that fire energy, and to bring, you know, this power where it fills it with rebirth. It fills it with who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
So again, in order to bring forgiveness, what needs to happen is you need to delve into your own deep personal abyss, and sink there, and pay attention and meditate and contemplate and be present with yourself. You can't check out. You can't check out of your body. You can't check out of any situation. You have to be fully in you and experience it.
And the thing is, when you make it invisible, like you said, and move on, you're really not making it invisible. You're just pushing it farther down. You're pushing it deeper, to where eventually you actually start to notice some really deep-rooted issues, especially with your self-reflection and your self-esteem. It's really interesting, Michael, that you brought that up, to look at your body and pay attention to what parts make you feel uncomfortable. Because I've noticed, at least within myself, the more I have practiced forgiveness, and again, forgiveness, not acceptance, the more confident I feel in myself, in the way I look, and in my body, and everything. I mean, it is really is a release that is so hard to describe, because it's not something that happens all at once. It's like you forgive that person for that situation, and you start to feel a little better. And then after a while, you realize that, hey, I really like the way I look today, or I really enjoy the way I'm feeling today. And then a few weeks later, it's like, wow, I really like, I'm rocking this shit out. I love the way I look. I love the way I feel. And it's just like, it's like the weight slowly lifts off you. And it's sort of like, while you are holding on to all this, resentment and hurt, you had scales over your eyes in a way, or a film over your eyes. So the way you see yourself is almost distorted.
Yeah.
And as you release that resentment, and you learn to forgive, things become so much clearer. It is truly a completely soul cleansing process.
It is, absolutely it is. And again, forgiveness is up to each and every one of us. We do not have to forgive in a certain amount of time. Knowing that forgiveness makes us feel better doesn't mean that we have to do it tomorrow. It doesn't mean that we have to do it next year. It means we process and we choose to do it when we choose to do it. And a lot of people say forgive and forget. Fuck that. Forgive. You can
learn.
Yeah, forgive and learn. Forgive and move forward. You never forget.
Yeah, and not forgetting is not necessarily holding on. It's like, I like what Susie says. She said, if we push it into our bottom drawer, our subconscious, we create deeper wounds for ourselves. And that's exactly right. And so to release that and to forgive is one thing, but you don't want to you were taught that lesson for a reason. It wasn't so you can forget it. It was so you can learn from it.
Right. And I love Susie. But I think we are taught so much to forgive and forget, because I believe, and I'm gonna get all crazy over here, but I believe that when we forget, we create this form of disempowerment. So every time that we forgive and we forget, we deny ourselves our full potential. We deny ourselves the ability to remember a situation that promoted and produced like growth spurts and growth experiences, where it shaped us in ways that we don't need to forget it. We don't need to like bury it. We need to forgive, remember, allow it to move where it's supposed to move, learn from it, and move on. Like, we don't need to forget shit.
No, because that just puts you in a vicious cycle of repeating the same behavioral patterns over and over and over. Whenever you decide, well, forgive and forget. Well, whenever you forget, and you can truly make yourself forget.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to. It's really not as hard as people think. Then all of a sudden you're shocked and hurt, and it cuts even deeper because you're experiencing that same pain in that same spot. It's just like, have you ever like bit your this inside of your cheek, like the same spot over and over throughout the day?
Oh, hell, that hurts.
Yeah, it hurts so bad, and at the end of the day, the inside of your cheek looks like hamburger meat because you've like chewed it all to hell. And it's the same thing, though, and then the next day it's sore, because you bit that same spot over and over. So whenever you forget, you have a greater chance of repeating that same behavioral pattern each time. But remembering doesn't have to be painful. Once you forgive, you can look back on a situation and recognize it for what it is and put it into use in the present whenever you feel like that situation is rolling around again.
Right. Like when you forget, okay, like we already said, like when you forget, you create a form of disempowerment, you create weakness. When you remember and you learn and you learn, you build more, you're stronger. And it's like when you go to school, the more you learn and you actually retain, the smarter you're going to be, the more you understand of life, the more you understand of certain situations. And the same thing applies to this. If you deny yourself, if you forget shit, then that keeps you in a state of ignorance.
Right. And also by forgiving, you can look back on that incident and remember it and not feel hurt.
Right, and that's the whole thing, is like you want to be able to look back at your experiences and not be so passionately, expressive when you go back to them, especially when they are experiences of growth in reference to pain and hurt and all that. You want to be able to look at them and appreciate that situation for what it was, or even not necessarily appreciate it, but just be able to honor it and move forward and not be so invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Miss Susie over here, because she is like, she's on point with everything. She says, our bottom drawers only hold so much before they begin to spill out. That's when we begin to hurt ourselves. We don't realize the root cause because we try to hide it away. And that's absolutely true. And again, that goes along with, again, like when you forget, you make yourself forget, you keep that wound and it gets worse. Yeah. You become numb to it. You put like layers and layers of other shit over it. So you don't understand that it's not handled, it's not healed, it's not taken care of. So again, when you have a situation that flares something up and it's associated with that becomes even more intensified, and it becomes even more challenging to release from your experience and to heal from, because you've kept it with you for so long.
Right.
And working with, and this is perfect for transitional, transformational, and shapeshifter energy, working with the oracle cards, working with cards, any cards, but we're talking about the shapeshifters. Working with this deck helps you process this information, because you have these cards that tell you and express to you in ways that sometimes we need. Like, we can't handle information from maybe friends or other people talking to us, but we can go to a deck and we can be like, okay, I understand that. But we have to be able to discern and not lie to ourselves. But the decks, this deck is definitely a powerful tool for healing and to promote and bring healing to people. The questions that, the getting fired from a job, that's it's going to sound horrible, but that was a perfect situation, perfect, because that's something that's common. That's something that happens to a lot of us. And so that's something that, was able, like, yes, we helped, one person receive a message from that, and we talked about how to heal with that. But a lot of people can, apply that. And the same thing with the forgiveness, like, that's like universal. That shit, like, is a challenge. And so we all process that in our own way. So that's something also that you can take, any of you can take and learn from. Like, I can take myself right now and learn from.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can learn from that myself.
So those are things that are extremely potent and powerful, where we have to just, and what's coming to me right now is, like, we also, as witches, we have to learn to appreciate the hippy dippy, the new age expression as well, because a lot of times we associate healing with, like, new age bullshit, and healing is not new age bullshit, and it's powerful and necessary for the witch, because the stuff that we channel and the stuff that we process is very extreme, and so we have to bring healing to ourselves constantly to keep ourselves in alignment with who we are, and to balance out and to be happy.
Right. And plus all these new age hippy dippy energies. I laugh because I'm the hippy dippy of the group.
Oh, hippy.
But anyway, they all stem from something that was established a long time ago. I mean, you can look at all those things and realize they come from somewhere else that's been established and passed on through the years. And just because it becomes a fad doesn't mean that you should automatically disqualify it. You just might need to look at it a little deeper than the surface. Most fads are very surface involved. They don't even hardly dip into the water. But there's a reason why they're popular, and it's because at one point in time, they were a lot deeper thoughts. They were a lot deeper concepts that actually had a very prominent place in our lives.
Right.
So yeah, definitely don't let the thought of doing healing work discourage you because you feel like you're falling into a fad. Well, it's ancient work. It really is.
And witches are healers. Like, that's what I mean. We're healers. We heal. There's so many things that, you know, the powers and skills of a witch. One of our things, we're healers.
Yes.
That's common sense and common witchery.
And Susie, I agree. I love being in the bath for healing work. That's my favorite thing.
Yes, Miss Susie said.
Water's awesome.
She's like, I like to focus upon a drawn card while in the bath for healing, water correspondences, etc. Which, yes, absolutely. Like, even the cards that we express for forgiveness, if you have this deck, you can take those out and take them out and place them where they're not going to get all jacked up. You may dim the lights, do an appropriate candle.
Light some incense, have a glass of wine.
And make it something special and make it where you're able to transition and shapeshift from one energy to another, because when we do healing work, it can be a little harsh at times. So the less harsh that you can make it upon yourself, and the more special that you make it, it attaches into your experience a little easier.
Right. So, yeah, because you're going to remember that moment, you know. I mean, it's a special moment whenever you really start your real deep healing work, and everyone has those moments. I mean, that is the way we grow. That's the way we progress. Is we overcome that hurdle that was holding us back, you know. And it's always a very memorable a moment in your life. I mean, it's like a milestone.
Right. And I know we have to close up soon, but I want to express as well, like, if you go to someone for a healing, there are certain things that you have to understand as well. And I don't know how many people express this to their clients. I try to express this to my clients often when I do healing work, especially when I do like the chakra balancing, and I'm entering someone's space. I make sure they understand that I only start out like usually with a half hour, because the longer that someone else is in your space and in your energy, that's like a foreign object. It's a foreign energy. So your body naturally tries to push someone out, and it can be very harsh if someone stays in your energy for long periods of time. And even when I like go into someone's energy and I move things, and it's still like, I tell them, like, you might experience discomfort, you might cry, you might feel it might feel a little painful. Breathe through it, breathe energy into that spot and allow it to process. If it is extremely discomfort, if it's extremely painful, let me know, because then that's something like, normally though, like I've never had that happen. I'm not going to say it won't happen, but knock on wood, like I've never had that happen, because the healer should understand, like, there's certain things that you pay attention to, you know when to move on from a certain spot,
right,
or where not to touch, or where not to put energy. But yeah, you have to understand that when you have to trust the person too. because someone's in your energy and someone's going to bring, yes, we're conduits and we're the channels for this energy, but that individual is also responsible for what they do. And so I always express, like, I'm going to be entering your space to have your permission. Obviously, when someone's paying me, they're like, well, of course, you have my permission. I'm like, I just want you to know that this is going on. You know, this might happen. I always ask everyone to drink a lot of water beforehand, because water helps to process energy. Water helps to ease things, and it helps to kind of make sure that discomfort is lessened. There's just a lot of stuff that goes with healing work that some people just may not know. And you have to know, like, when someone's doing healing work for you, even when it's Reiki, a lot of people think Reiki is just super easy and super nice and it's universal and you don't have to worry about it. Reiki is still healing. Even though Reiki has its own energy and it's still going to where it needs to go, it's still a form of healing. And healing can it can be traumatic, it can be discomforting. So nothing is fully safe. It doesn't, nothing's fully safeguarded. So you have to understand that when you do healing work and when you receive healing work, that someone is in your energy, and it can be discomforting, but understand that you can move through that. And again, if you're new to it, ask about how long the session is, and if they think that length of session is good for you, because you're new to receiving that work. Totally rambled, right. Sorry. But
yeah, you have to look at like spiritual healing the same way as your body actually healing from an illness. I mean, the reason why you run a fever when you have an infection is because your body is healing. It is trying to burn that infection out. So healing is painful. I mean, that's just the way. Anytime you break a bone, I've broken my collarbone before. The healing process was very painful. Even whenever you get a scrape on your arm or hands or whatever, it will itch when it's healing. There's going to be discomfort that comes with healing. That is the natural way.
Just before we do our final, I keep getting things like I need to share. Another thing like you can do is like once you do your healing work and once you have everything done, it's really nice to kind of like fluff the aura. You can fluff the aura however you do it, or you can take, I like aquamarine, because aquamarine is very cooling. I'm fucking hot. But it's very, very, very cool and soothing. There's a lot of energy that we totally like raise. You can work with aquamarine to bring this very soothing energy. So once your client or even yourself, once you process all that energy and that healing, you can go over and like bring the aquamarine and comb your aura, comb your energy to help make it just a better, like an easier experience, something that soothes the experience. And if there's any like inflammation, something that's been flared up over, this will calm it down, and it kind of just acts as a very good sealer in a positive and uplifting way.
Very much so.
So, is there anything that you would like to add before we close?
No, just if anybody's interested in the Oracle deck that we just used, is the Oracle the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish.
I love
There is this is a handbook, but it's also what the cover of the box looks like.
Yes, it is. This is the box.
So if you're interested in it, definitely get it. I really, really enjoy it. And Michael really enjoys it, obviously, too. So
I do. I love Lucy. I love Lucy's hair. Shit, that woman has, like, hair for days. I'm so jealous of her. Anyways, yeah, definitely check it out. Yeah, we're just... If you have any suggestions, if you want us to talk about anything pertaining to the cards, Oracle cards, tarot cards, even regular playing cards, just, let us know. Comment on this video on YouTube and let us know, like, if there's anything specific that you'd like us to talk about, and we will do our best to provide that for you. Because at the end of the day, like we said, we love doing these videos, but we are definitely of service to you, and we want to be able to share information with each other and to grow as a whole. We want everyone to get the most out of each show and to have a good experience and to learn and to promote learning and to promote growth. Because, you know, I want everyone to be able to have fun and adventures and to grow as readers, as witches. You know, that's my goal.
Definitely. And thank you all to everyone who commented and participated. We really appreciate that, Diana. I hope that we were able to help you out some, and you're definitely welcome. And Azure, thank you for commenting with your situation. We really appreciate it. It's not always easy to ask for healing or to bring up subjects like that. We definitely understand that and do appreciate it.
Absolutely. We are very appreciative. So until next time, y'all have fun. We will see you soon. Peace.